Hey, what is up guys? Today we are going to do the mid-year book freakout tag. I never done this last year because I just kept putting it off and off and I'd done it like too late. But this year I'm on time, so I'm going to take part. Before we get started, I just want to say a couple things. So first of all, I just recently started a Bookstagram account. It's kind of fun. I've quite enjoyed like being creative with it. There's only a few posts up right now, but the @ is just my name, Connor Stompanato, and I will put the link in the description. So please go follow me. I will follow you back. It's quite basic right now, but it's fun. And second of all, I started putting closed captions on my last video, and I'm going to do that for all of my videos that I can going forward from now on. I can't promise they'll be up straight away as soon as the videos are up because it kind of takes me a while and I can't really schedule videos because I do everything on my phone, believe it or not. So I will try my best to get them up as fast as possible. But yeah, that's something I'm going to work on from now on. And I'm also going to add all the videos with closed captions to a playlist on my channel. And I'm going to go back and do some of my older videos as well, especially some of the shorter ones, and add closed captions to them as well. So after all that, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, please subscribe, and let's just get started with the mid-year book freakout tag. The very first question is, what is the best book you have read so far in 2020? And for me, that is The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin. This book is about a man who, when he dreams, can change reality, but it creates like a new reality. And he can remember the memories from the old one, but also the memories from the new one. Because he is like, it's so hard to explain. Because he is like in the new reality. So he has both sets of memories. And anyway, and then a scientist, doctor, therapist learns about this and basically tries to take advantage of it to create his perfect world. I absolutely love this book. It was very, very clever, and it doesn't directly spell everything out to you. For example, it doesn't really tell you when you've entered a new reality straight away. Little things will have changed, there'll be little hints, and you need to try and pick up on them yourself. For example, there's one about like a painting in the office, and one reality it's a painting of mountains, I think, and then the next one it's a painting, I don't know, like the paintings change anyway, and it's just little things like that, and then obviously it gets bigger and bigger and kind of spirals out of control, which I just really enjoyed trying to work it all out. It's definitely like a interesting concept to try and wrap your head around. It also deals with a lot of different things like racism, illness, war, like should man play God? It has all these like deeper questions in it because the therapist is trying to create his perfect world, like a world without war, a world without racism. But by trying to do these things, it causes even more problems, and it's just amazing, and I highly, highly recommend it. It's really fun. It's a really fun book. So question number 2 is the best sequel that you have read so far in 2020, and for me, I'm going to have to say the reread of Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This is the second book in the Hunger Games series, and it's just my favourite. I have a whole video dedicated to my reread of the Hunger Games series, but Catching Fire is just like, I love the extra world building. I love that the stakes are higher in a way. I love like the rebellion started to take place and meeting the different victors from previous Hunger Games, and I love the arena in the second one. The fact that it's a clock, like I just love all of that stuff, and it's like the perfect sequel in my opinion, and I prefer it to even the original book, which I think is not an uncommon opinion. I think a lot of people do. So question 3 is that a new release that you haven't read yet but want to, and for me I have 2. So I have the Southern Book Guides Club to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. And this book, as far as I'm aware, I don't like to know too much about books before I go into them. I like to go in a little bit blind. So all I know is that it is about like a woman who moves into a new neighbourhood and joins kind of like a middle-aged mom like reading club, and kids in the town start to go missing, and they suspect that it is one of their neighbours, and then I'm assuming he turns out to be a vampire. That's pretty much all I know. I just have heard a lot of people talk about it, and it always sounds really good whenever everyone talks about it. And yeah, it's got vampires as well. What's there not to love? The second one is a little bit more serious, and that is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. And this book is about a 15-year-old girl who enters a relationship with her teacher, and I think it's like 12, 13 years later, it comes out this teacher has had a similar relationship with another underage student back in the day. And this woman kind of is coming to terms with that relationship and thinking about it and realising that it wasn't as like innocent and nice as it was to her when she was 15, and just coming to terms with all of that. And I think that sounds really amazing. It's a very heavy topic, but definitely interesting. And you know, one of my favourite books, for example, was Lolita. I don't know, it's kind of like that kind of vibe. It's just an interesting topic. It's hard to describe how you're interested in these type of books without coming off weird, but like it's got loads of good reviews. Amy Myers, her channel used to be Non-Fiction Feminist, I think it's just her name now. Her review is like the one that sold it to me, I'm pretty sure. But I've seen a lot of reviews on it, like everyone seems to think it's really good. Question 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I'm going to say Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer. This is Twilight from Edward's perspective, and I don't need to say much more about that. I'm just really excited for it. I love Twilight, I think it's really fun, and the fact that we're getting a new Twilight book right as I start to get back into Twilight is like, I'm just saying, I think Stephanie Meyer saw my review and thought, you know what? Let's give him an extra Twilight book. Okay, so number 5 is the biggest disappointment, and I'm going to say Villette by Charlotte Bronte, which honestly breaks my heart. I was really looking forward to this. As you all know, because I've said it 1,000 times, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte is my favourite book, my favourite classic, but also just my favourite book overall. And I honestly haven't enjoyed her other books. It's so sad. Like, I really love both of Anne Bronte's books. I love Wuthering Heights and I love Jane Eyre, but Charlotte Bronte's other books just don't do it for me. A quick summary, this is a really long book, but the basic of it is that it is about a woman who goes to the fictional town of Villette in Belgium to become a teacher at a school, and when she's there she falls in love with another teacher. It's very basic. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's like the very basic description of it. And it was so boring. It was so long. The main character was so plain. I can't remember her name now. Lucy? I feel like it was Lucy. Yeah, it was Lucy Snow. And then the professor that she falls in love with is just like a not nice man. And yeah, I was really sad. And it was so boring. I was actually like struggling to read it. It was the only time I've ever used an audiobook because I had to put an audiobook on so I could listen to it while I was reading along, because otherwise my eyes were just like wandering away. Question 6 is the biggest surprise, and for this, another Twilight one, we have Life and Death by Stephanie Meyer. I just read this month, and this is the original Twilight book, except all the characters' genders are switched, and Stephanie Meyer done this to kind of prove that Bella is not like a damsel in distress, she's a human in distress. And I talk about this a lot in my reading 1-star reviews video that I just uploaded, but I honestly really enjoyed it. I thought it was just going to be so basic, because it does kind of start out like copy and paste of Twilight pretty much, but like the names have been switched. But I don't know, I just loved seeing Edward being like a girl, like Edith, and then the main character Bella is now Beau, a boy, and honest to God, I felt like he was me. And also this book is genuinely like typical like male high school fantasy, like move to a new school and then like the hottest girl in the whole school falls in love with you. Like I was like, I want this to be my life. Like when I was in high school, I wanted to move school just to be the new kid. Like I liked my school, I liked all my friends there. I just wanted to have that experience of being like the new kid so bad. I feel like most people do. And this was just like total like fantasy of that. And it was really fun. I enjoyed it. And there's not much else that I can say. It was just really fun. Question number 7 is favourite new author, and this is Ursula K. Le Guin for me. So I already talked about The Lathe of Heaven. I've also read her other book. She has hundreds of books. Like she has so many, and I definitely want to read more and more of them. But the other one I've read was The Word for World is Forest, and this one is all about colonialization, and it's about humans going to another planet and mining all the resources and enslaving their native people, and it's all about environmentalism. I just loved it. It was so good. Another book with just like so many deeper themes and so much like below the surface. And when did I read it? I think it was my April wrap up maybe. But yeah, just absolutely blew me away. So I definitely want to read more of her books as soon as possible. Question 8, newest fictional crush. I don't really get fictional crushes, so I'm going to say Edith Cullen from Life and Death, and then by extension Edward Cullen. I'm just going to say the both of them. Edith is like everyone's dream girl, and then Edward, I guess, is like everyone's dream guy. But Edith is just like in the book. The most perfect angel from heaven into Beau's life, and it was fun. It was a fun week. So, newest favourite character. Oh my god, there's so many more questions. I'm going to speed up. Newest favourite character is Helen Graham from The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. This book is really revolutionary in the way that it completely displays independent women in a way that classics hadn't really done so up to this point. Helen does so many things that are totally taboo for her time. Like, she leaves her husband and runs away with her child because he's a drunk and abusive. She like makes money by herself, like by painting. Like, she just does loads of different things, and she is just like an inspiration to women everywhere. No, but like genuinely, she is like one of the most early kind of feminist characters from what I've read online, and you can totally see that in the book. The book was amazing, and it's so underrated. Like, Anne Bronte does not get the respect that she deserves, because everyone knows about Charlotte and Emily, and I feel like Anne is kind of swept under the rug. But honestly, I think Anne Bronte is more talented than Charlotte, and Emily only has Wuthering Heights, so it's hard to tell, but both of Anne Bronte's books are like so good. Number 10, a book that made you cry. I don't have emotions, sorry. Number 11, a book that made you happy. This one, again, I was like, I don't know, like, a lot of books make me happy, but I don't want to do any repeats. So I came up with The Last Olympian by Rick Riordan. This was the 5th book in the Percy Jackson series, and I didn't love the Percy Jackson books overall. I thought they were kind of too middle grade for me. I don't normally kind of read that. But The Last Olympian kind of was like the perfect ending to the series. It brought back so many characters that have been throughout the 5 books, which I am a sucker for that. It's like total fan service, but I love it. And there's like a big, huge battle, and I thought the battle was really well written. I thought the stakes were kind of high. Like, obviously, you know, none of the main characters are going to die or anything, but like, I just thought it was like a really, really good end to the series. Number 12, the most beautiful book you've bought so far. And this one kind of just wins by default, and that is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Susan Collins. I haven't bought that many physical books, and any I have bought have been like secondhand and like kind of tatty and wrecked, or just basic, because I don't really buy new books ever. I only really buy classics because they're cheaper, and I just don't have a job or anything, so I try not to spend money. So Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes wins by default. And then finally, 13, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So I have the Stormlight Archive and the Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson. I want to read these so bad. My library has them. I'm hoping my library is going to open up very soon, because obviously coronavirus, it's still shut, which is so annoying. Shirley by Charlotte Bronte is the last Bronte book. I just finished The Professor last night, and Shirley is the last one left out of all 3 sisters' books. Dracula by Bram Stoker, I've wanted to read this. I bought this last April, like April 2019, and still haven't read it, so I'm 100% reading it this October. And then The 5th Season by N.K. Jemisin. Everyone is talking about this. Everyone has like rave reviews. It is just a fantasy series. I honestly don't know much more about it. I want to go in pretty blind, but I just know that everyone says it's amazing, so definitely want to read that as soon as possible. And that is all the questions. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, please subscribe, let me know your thoughts on all these books down below, and that's all I have to say. Oh, and follow me on Bookstagram again. It's at ConnorStompanato. I'll put it on the screen right here and in the description. Please follow me. I have no followers there yet. Yeah, thank you, goodbye.